Good morning. My name is Baba Anthony, and I am with Okanranso Temple. Welcome to another Ifa Temple service. All right, so we're going to begin this morning with our morning prayers. Ibashe akamara, Ibashe olodumare obaterere kaye, Ibashe orumila eleri ikwen, Ibashe akoda, Ibashe asheda, Ibashe to my ori, Ibashe to my mother, Ibashe to my father, Ibashe to my luo, Ibashe to my oyibona, Ibashe to my baba ifa, Fakolade, Ibashe to Papa Amos, Ibashe to Papa Jose, Ibashe to Chief Shalabade Popola, Ibashe to all my brothers and sisters and Ifan Orisha who have offered their support and shared their knowledge with me. Ibashe to my wife, Ibashe to my children. Ejiobe. He who hears our pleas and accepts our pleas. He who hears our pleas and approves our pleas. He who talks to us the should talks completely absorbed. He who hears our pleas and accepts our pleas is the name of Ifa. He who hears our pleas and approves our pleas is the name of Eshu or Da. He who talks to people and should talks completely absorbed is the name of Orishanla. Orishanla, you are the one that molds human beings. The person that molds one cannot fail to impress one. It is the striped frog who summons the rainfall. The bullfrog is one who summons the downpour. It is whatever the Achille Dupont tree root tells the earth accepts. Whatever the big rat tells the earth is what the earth accepts. All what I tell you, Ifa, please accept and approve them. Ashe. Ifa, I come to pray to you this morning on behalf of the members of Okanranso Temple and for all those watching and sharing the information with us this morning. I'm asking for your guide, protections, and blessings to remove death, sickness, litigation, loss, contention, all negative things from our lives, and to continue to support us so that we experience long life, good spouse, good children, all array in our life always. Ashe. Oh, Tori Rete. To show gratitude upon gratitude is the Awo of all gratitude. To display benevolence upon benevolence is the Awo of all benevolence. Whoever does not show gratitude for yesterday's benevolence, such a person will not receive today's gratuity. These are the declarations of Ifa, the 401 Iramole. I'm going to marry Opa, gratitude, the daughter of Wisha Baruji, Obatala. They also declared the same to Orumila when going to marry Open, the daughter of Orisha Baruji. I am grateful. I received my gratuity. I am grateful for yesterday's favor. I shall receive today's gratuity. Otura Rete, I am very grateful. Ashe. Awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe, oh, awa bure. Adupe ana wa obore tori bo olodumare. Awa dupe, awa bure. Awa dupe o, awa bure. Adupe ana wa obore tori bo oriemi. Awa dupe. Awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure, adupe ana wa bore tori bo irumole, awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure. Adupe ana wa bore tori bo legu nosa. Shake. Eroso ni tutu. Pounded yam without soup can be difficult to consume. This was the E5 cast for a tutu, the child of embodied Egwin. He whose attitude was not acceptable. He who was full of bad character. He whose bad attitude had prevented him from coming to E5's domain. Now we have come to beg on behalf of the tutu. Father, please be patient and overlook this provocation. We have come to solicit on behalf of Ututu. Odumila responded that those of you who come to solicit on behalf of Ututu, those who are begging on behalf of Ututu, how many children does Ifa have that he would cast one out? Those who come to beg on behalf of Ututu. Ashe. Ofumeji. Hepa Otu. The king who molds human beings, the king who molds human destiny, the king who supports and assists human beings, the king who molds human character. The king who molds human beings is the name given to Orishanla. The king who molds human destiny is the name given to Oromila. The king who supports and assists human beings is the name given to one to Ori. the king who molds human characters, name given to Oloro Idumare. Orangu I calling you by your formula, which is known as Paodu. You are the ones who help in organizing one's life to be rewarding. You are the ones who help in organizing one's life to be fruitful. Please come and help me organize my life. For it to be blessed with wealth, for it to be blessed with children, for it to be blessed with all the good things of life. It is impossible to see the depth of the sea. Do not let the world see evil in me. Do not let me be disgraced. All what I am doing. Do not let human beings dig up evil in me. Orangu Meji, I call you by your formula, which is known as Paodu. Please let my matter be fruitful and rewarding. Ashe. Oh, Ashe Torah. Tiny other feet of Tubu. Striped chameleon is not big enough to be used as headgear. Had it been enough to use as headgear, I've taken it home and adorned my head with it. These refiled declarations to Awo of Onijumu when going on a spiritual mission to Egypt, Bulan. We call him the local bean seller and pay her money. We call him Awo of Onijumu with respect in Egypt, Bulan. Oshe Awo of Onijumu is a good Awo. Ashe. Kegani Bagisa, the actual stripes of trees, the one who cast Ifa for Humila is going to see Iba and Ashe from Olodumare. And for now, also that we shall be wealthy. We shall surely be wealthy. Kegani Bagisa, in the mouth of an Awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an Awo. If an Awo says that we shall have good spouse, we shall certainly have good spouse. Kegani Bagisa, in the mouth of an Awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an Awo. If an Awo says that we shall have good children, we shall certainly have good children. Kegani Bagisa, in the mouth of an Awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an Awo. If an Awo says that we shall have all array of life, we shall certainly have all array of life. Kegani Bagisa, in the mouth of an Awo resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an Awo. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá máa mú wí o, erùmọ̀lẹ̀ ó bà, Ifá ó bà o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá máa mú wí o, erùmọ̀lẹ̀ ó bà, Ifá ó bà o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Timo dúró, Timo dúré, Timo bẹ̀rẹ̀, Timo dúré, Timo kúnlẹ̀, Timo dúré, Timo jókòó, Timo dúré. Ere Timo su ori ti bo. Let's hold our oris. Ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni. Moji lowuro mofo mori ori eni laure eni. Ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni. Moji lowuro mofo mori ori eni laure eni. Obo ire ikasu. Ifa oba oloru. Àti bàtíájú. Ifá ọba Ọlọ́run, ó ṣe àwòrẹ́là, Ifá ti gbọ́. Ifá, please be here with us to support us this morning as we discuss the topic of today. I'm asking for your guys' protections and blessings to remove death, to remove sickness, to remove litigation, to remove loss, to remove contention, remove all negative things from our lives, to bring in long life, good spouse, good children, all your in life and blessings to us always. Ifá, please come to support us and to help remove our egos so that we hear the message of today and that we can do for ourselves and do for others as Ifá asks. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Ashe. Good morning. Again, my name is Baba Anthony, and I am the Awo with Oore-Segi Temple here in Miami, Florida. Today's topic is the discussion of patience and really how to keep your cool when life is not moving smoothly. Sometimes And I say sometimes, it seems like many times in life, things can be going really, really well. We hit a bump, and then things are not going so well. Or you may be still waiting for your moment when things are going to be as good as you want them to be, right? What's important for us all to know is that Ifa is always, always, always asking us to have patience, because there are always trials and tribulations that are a part of life, that have us moving, in the way that we're moving. Some people come to live their life blessed. I mean, it seems as if everything they do turns out to be absolutely amazing. And sometimes others aren't so lucky, right? Sometimes we have to go through many, many challenges before we see the light at the end of the tunnel, before we see the blessings promised to us by Ifa, right? So we have to take a little bit of time. So first, before we get into our message, let's look at the definition of patience, and we'll use that to think about as we're working through this sermon today. Patience is the ability or willingness to wait or defer gratification or result, right? The ability or willingness to wait it out, the ability to suffer pain, delay, irritation, disappointments, so on, without complaint or protest. The ability or willingness to persevere. Like, think about that. Many of us go through our challenges in life, and sometimes we're saying to ourselves, I'm being patient. How about I'm the most patient person there is, but when is it my turn? Right? That is a form of complaint. I'm just sharing, right? That's a form of complaint. So we have to think about that. We have to think about that while we're doing our time, while we're waiting, while we are working towards finding the array that we're supposed to have in our life. Now, the questions I want you to think about today are: how long will the suffering last? Right? What does that look like for myself, for you, or any other person? I sought Ifa's advice. Will success happen? How do I know if any of this will help? Right? And I feel like giving up. What should I do? Let's think about those questions through today's sermon. So the first Odu I'm going to discuss today comes from the Odu of Ogbe Owanrin. Ogbe Owanrin. I say, when one's Ifa is about to support one, it will first make one go through tribulation. This was the declaration of Ifa for Oore-Segi when going to Onijimu's house to purchase liquor on credit. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Oore-Segi, the resident Awo of Onijumu, he cast Ifa for Onijumu when she was weeping in lamentation of her inability to beget her own babies. She was advised to offer a bow. She complied. Before long, not too far, join us in the midst of happiness. Come and see all the array of life. Now, this particular verse and this particular story is an interesting one. All right. In this story, we have an Awo by the name of Oore-Segi. Oore-Segi was a very well-trained Awo. He was good at what he did. But his challenge was he didn't have many clients, right? He didn't have many clients. He wasn't able to afford a home. He wasn't able to afford good clothing. He wasn't able to live his life happy. So he was missing quite a bit, even though he was a well-trained Awo, right? He was still missing some things. So he goes out to have Ifa cast for himself. And the Babalao tells Oore-Segi that, you need to acquire these 6 bottles of liquor, these different items for your ebo, bring them back. We offer ebo, and then Ifa will, work and support you during this time of challenge. Oore-Segi says, man, I have nothing. I barely have, money to afford the reading that I came to do today. So Oore-Segi though was determined to fix his issue. So he goes out And the Awo, what's interesting is that the Awo says that, well, this is what you need to do for your particular situation, is that you need to acquire the 6 bottles of liquor that are required for your ebo. You need to get those on credit, right? And so you need to find the person who will loan them to you on credit, and that will be of great support. So he goes out, and first of all, he's pretty much what people would consider naked, because his clothes were all torn and tattered. There was nothing presentable about him. He looked like a homeless man. So one day he finds himself in a liquor store owned by Onijumu. And Onijumu sees Oore-Segi and says, "Oh my goodness, why is this homeless man doing in my shop?" Oore-Segi comes in and he sees Onijumu and he says, "I plead with you, are you able to allow me to purchase liquor on credit at this time? I need it for a very, very important reason. If you're able to do this, I promise I will come back and pay you back." Onijumu was skeptical. She says, "Why should I give this homeless person 6 bottles of my liquor? I worked hard for my store and for everything I have." Right. And she was very much on the way of saying no. She was saying, "You know what? I can't do this. This doesn't make sense. Why am I going to give him liquor?" So, as I mentioned earlier, Oore-Segi was a very talented Awo. And as he is looking at Onijumu, he's analyzing her and thinking to himself. And he says to Onijumu, he starts to analyze and discuss her situation. And he says, "You are in a position where you are really trying to have a child right now, and your challenges. You have so many challenges that you have not been able to have your own child. I promise that I can support you. I am an Awo. I can come back and support you and help you with this situation. I just need to offer my ebo first." She was taken back. She'd not been telling anybody her business or her thoughts. She's like, "How does this person know this?" So she gives the bottle of liquor to Oore-Segi, and he goes back and offers his ebo. And in time, Oore-Segi's situation starts to improve. He comes back, offers ebo for Onijumu, and then in time for her situation starts to improve, where she eventually becomes pregnant and has children, and all of her happiness and joy has come into her life through the birth of her children. This is an important story within Ifa, right? The theme of this story is that our suffering is temporary. Our suffering is temporary. Sometimes we will go through this trouble, right? Sometimes we will see the challenges in front of us and cannot see on the other side of the mountain. That's kind of how I look at trouble sometimes. It's a hill, it's a mountain, it's something that we have to get over, a bump in the road, right? That's how I want us to look at it. What we have to remember is that our suffering is temporary, right? Once we get over to the other side of that challenge, the other side of the hill, the other side of the mountain, because not all troubles are equal. Sometimes they're just this high and sometimes they're this high, right? But once we get to the other side, we can look back and say, that was a tough situation, but I made it through. And so we have to understand that our suffering is temporary, right? I look around at our society right now, and one of the largest fields of job loss that I see right now, just in 2023, is the tech industry, right? So we see the tech industry, there's just been layoffs of over 200,000 employees from the tech field. And what's super interesting is that we know that in our world right now, technology is always growing. It's always changing. It is always improving. So while these people right now have lost work, have lost their main ways of income, because these are high paying jobs, what's important for them to know is that technology is not going to stop. They're going to continue to see the improvement of technology, and there will be more people looking to hire in the future. So for them, it's important to know that their suffering is temporary, just like for us, right? Tech jobs, teacher jobs, whatever it may be. They're always going to be looking for people to fulfill more roles in the future. As Ifa followers, we need to remember that our suffering is temporary. And so patience, keeping our cool, right, and working towards improving our situation is something that we need to do for ourselves. We need to be patient and continue. We need to be patient and continue. And then when we get past our challenge, we have to then be thankful to Ifa, be thankful to those who have helped us, right? That is very, very important. This takes me to our next Odu. This Odu comes, this story comes from the Odu of Oore-Segi. Oore-Segi. It goes like this. How is Ada, the cutlass? Ada has gone to the farm. And how is Ada? Ada has gone to the stream. Ada is now very sharp-edged. This was the Ifa cast for the echo seller of Idere town, who shall become wealthy before evening time. She was advised to offer a bow. She complied. Idere was a woman named Idere. She was very popular in the olden days. This was a town, Idere was a town, right? Sorry. Idere was a town that was popular in the olden days. This town was the focus and center of Yoruba activities, right? The population of this town was good size compared to other towns at the time. There was a woman in the town who was selling eko, cornmeal. It's a cornmeal mixture that we make. She was very popular in the town, but she was always complaining about her sales and how they were not moving the way that they ought to be, right? And so because she felt like, things could be better for herself, she went to have Ifa consulted. The Awo's names were mentioned above, and these names are: how is Ada, the cutlass? Ada has gone to the farm. And how is Ada? Ada has gone to the stream. Ada is now very sharp-edged, right? These Awos are the ones who cast Ifa for this woman. And I want us to start to think about that. I know this is not something I brought up in many of the conversations, but the names of the Awos are within the actual verses that I am sharing. So we'll get into that later. Back to the story. So she goes to the Awos and has them cast for her. They told her that her sales would improve and she needed to offer a bow. So she complied. After this, she was told that she needed to exercise patience, right? And everything that she did when it came to sales, she was like, okay, so you sold 1 echo today. Tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow is better. You sold 5 echo. Wonderful. Be patient. Tomorrow will be better. So they explain, be patient at all times. Right? They told her that not everything will sell immediately, right? And that whenever she made it, it needed to be fresh. It needed to be good rather than sitting there and waiting for people to buy and eat it, right? She was also told that after she made everything and her sales starting to get better, she needed to focus on giving her blessings to Ifa. She needed to focus on going back to the deity, the icon, the priests, and share her blessings, right? Say, this is what has come. Do not hide from others that it's Ifa that has supported you. She says, Ashe. So she offers her ebo, and of course, in time, her sales start to pick up. Right? She used to prepare her echo like a basket at a time, and like have some sitting there, and then sell them for a few days. And you can only imagine, of course, the ones on the first day were amazing, but by day 3, they were now cold. Maybe they started to turn a little bit. So she started to change the way that she made, did her echo making. She started to make them fresh. And as she started to do this, she started realizing her sales started going up nicely, right? Started going up nicely. And one day she was selling about 5 baskets of fresh echo. Then it later went to 12 baskets. Then it went to 16 baskets, right? Her profits gained greatly. She started to get new clothes, right? She started to improve all, her looks and everything about her, new shoes, new hats. However, what was interesting is that even though things were getting better for her, she started to complain, right? She still was complaining. She's like, well, things have really, things can still be better. Now, mind you, her sales at this point had tripled. Things can be better. She's still complaining. So as she continued to complain, one of the Awos heard this, and he thought to himself, he's like, this is interesting. She complains, and we know that Ifa is the truth for us. As Ifa made that promise, he goes to see and check on her. As he goes to see her, he sees, wow, her booth is booming. People are lined up. She's got nice clothes. Everything about her has changed, right? And her complaints were really for no reason. She just was so used to complaining that just became part of who she was. And so the Awo left. He started to walk away. But as he started to walk away, what was funny is he started to sing loudly. He started to sing loudly. How is it the echo seller said she made no profit? The echo seller of Idere, you complain that you made no profit? You used to wear this dress and now you wear nice clothes, right? So he starts to sing this song and she turns and she hears him. She says, I need to thank Ifa for all the blessings that I have received. Things have truly improved. The verse ends. How is Ada? Ada has gone to the farm. And how is Ada? Ada has gone to the stream. Ada is now very sharp-edged. This was the Ifa cast for the echo seller of Idere town, who shall become wealthy before evening time. She was advised to offer a bow. She complied. Now, the echo seller of Idere, I thought you said you made no profit. The echo seller of Idere, you complained you made no profit. You wear a black dress and tie a red wrapper. You use a green dress as a headgear and you sit majestically. You wear a broad smile. The echo seller of Idere, yet you complain of making no profit. Ashe. So the theme of this story and verse is you have the support of Ifa and of Ofredebo. One of the more challenging aspects of life is maintaining hope that things will improve. As a practitioner of Ifa, we do not always hear when folks get out of the trouble that they're in, right? One of my elders used to say, if I don't hear from them, that means Ifa has supported them. I encourage you always, when your life shows improvement, I encourage you to take your time to show gratitude to Ifa when things start to improve in your life, right? Continue with your morning prayers. Continue with your Ose Ifa. Show your gratitude when things improve in your life because of Ifa, right? If you find it necessary, show your gratitude to the priest who is cast Ifa for you. Let them know that things have improved. But don't push Ifa to the side as if you've done everything yourself. Patience is something we all need, even when our life is getting better and better. We need to show that patience. And on the end of it, we need to share our gratitude. Ashe. Ashe. Let's go to the next verse. This is from the Odu of Iwori-Meiji. Iwori-Meiji. This Odu goes, the hands of the youth cannot reach the shelf. Those elders cannot enter the neck. The hands of the elders cannot enter the neck of the gourd. The errand that a youth sends an elder on, let the elder refuse not. These are the assignments a father is expected to carry out for his child. This was the Ifa cast for Akapo when he went to complain against Orunmila in the presence of Olodumare. He was advised to offer Ebo. So here we have the story of an Akapo who was a student of Orunmila. He worked hard beside Orunmila. He studied and worked hard to be a great student of his. The challenge for this particular Akapo is that his blessings weren't manifesting yet in his life. He still saw so many challenges. He was studying, he was there every day, he was doing the work, but he wasn't quite seeing his blessings. And he would help client after client and support Orunmila day after day. And he would watch clients rise and have their blessings manifest before he even saw any changes in his life. The Akapo started to feel a certain type of way about this. And this put him in a mood, right? And so he found himself moving around town, and people wouldn't recognize him and say, hey, aren't you the Akapo of Orunmila, the student of Orunmila? And he'd say yes. And they would, it's almost like they would edge him on a little bit, say, well, see, you're not doing so well. Why is Baba not helping you and supporting you and and all these things? And then the Akapo thought to himself, he's like, you know what? I'm there every day. I'm making my sacrifices. I'm doing what I need to do. And so the Akapo starts to complain about Orunmila. He says, no, my father has not helped me yet. He's not supported me. My Baba has not done things for me to help me succeed. And so he starts to complain from place to place that he visits. He starts to complain about Orunmila more and more and more. And so the people, as they heard these complaints, they told the Akapo, you need to go to Olodumare. You need to go and let Olodumare know that Orunmila needs to support you, and he has not been supporting you. This creates a very big and challenging situation. So the Akapo decides, okay, I will do that. So he goes to Olodumare and he starts complaining. He says, Olodumare, Orunmila has not yet supported me. I've worked and I'm studying and I've done everything I can. I've sacrificed every single day. I've not seen my blessings yet. I've seen many others surpass me, and I'm still here as a student of his, and I'm in the same place. Olodumare says, he says, okay, please call Orunmila. Let's hear his side of the story. The Akapo heard this and kind of paused for a second. It's like he took one of those big gulps, like, Nobody else has ever asked for Orunmila's side. They've just been passing judgment, thinking Orunmila has not been helping me. So it's okay. Let us wait. So they call for Orunmila. Orunmila hears the call and he says, what is it? What's the reason Olodumare could be calling for me? And so he goes to have Ifa cast for himself. It's in any important situation or any important thing that we deal with in life, that Orunmila deals with in life, he shows us an example. He's got to travel. He's got to go on a trip. He's got to help somebody else. He has Ifa cast for himself so that he can be best prepared in order to help the person that is coming. So Orunmila goes and has Ifa cast for himself with his former students, with other Awos. They provide him with the information saying that, you're going to, Olodumare is calling you and you're going to be accused of doing something, but be calm and explain, your situation clearly. Orunmila says Ashe. He offers his Ebo and he continues on to his trip. So as he gets to Olodumare says, your Akapo here has accused you of these things he would like to speak to you about. And so the Akapo recites everything that he's been saying about Orunmila. And Oromila hears the story, and then he begins to explain the situation. Oromila says to Olodumare, he says, I have prayed, I have offered Ebo after Ebo, I have offered a tutu after a tutu. I have given Ikwese and different offerings for my Akapo often, over and over again. It is just that his destiny is so that he must wait just a little bit longer. He's right on the verge of his destiny manifesting, but it's just not his time yet. And the Akapo heard this, and he was taken back. He said, my Baba's been working for me, I just haven't seen it. Olodumare says, okay, let us go back and come back in a year. If the situation has not yet improved, then we will discuss more. As they leave, the capo is a little bit beside himself. But as time goes by, things start to improve slowly but surely. The capo starts to make some money of his own. He starts to have a spouse. He then gets married, has a family, and before the year's out, his life is completely changed. He now has a home. He's going to be beginning his family shortly. He comes back and prostrates before Rumila and says, Baba, how could I ever doubt you? How could I ever believe that you were never on my side? Right. And so this is the story. This is the story of the Akapo, right, who needed just a little bit more patience. So let us listen to the rest of this verse. The hands of the youth cannot reach the shelf. Those of the elders cannot enter the neck of the gourd. The errand that a youth sends an elder, let that elder refuse not. These are the assignments a father is expected to carry out for his child. This was the Ifa cast for Akapo when he went to complain against Orunmila in the presence of Olodumare. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. He who listens to and judges one side, you do not do well. He who listens to and judges one side, you are wicked. When you have not heard from the other side, why are you passing judgment? Again, this particular situation is a story of the Akapo's lack of patience causes his misjudgment. This is what we have to think about, right? Oftentimes, we are so close to reaching that place that we are supposed to be, and yet, right, we might start passing judgment and say, well, when is it my time? They didn't do anything good for me. Nothing has helped me. I did this all on my own. Right? That's something that I've heard happen. I know Ifa said that things were going to be better, but I felt like I did this all on my own. Let us be mindful. Let us be mindful not to have our patience cause misjudgment to the situation. Right? Here in the story, we hear the Akapo of Orunmila misjudged Orunmila. He began to show his lack of patience in his life, which caused him to bring Orunmila before Olodumare. There is a saying in the religious circle, we can call it Christianity or Judaism or Islam, whatever, all of these different faiths, many of them have some type of saying that is similar to this. Good things come to those who wait. This is also a foundational belief within Ifa. Right? This is made possible by just a few things. Let us think about it. We have to, one, be dedicated to our goal, have the ability to be offering elbow for support. We need to make sure that we're following the tenets of Ifa. And then we have to make sure that we're adhering to the taboos that are within our own personal Odu. These things set the stage for the blessings to manifest in one's life. Right? We also have to know that when it comes to offering ebo, and this is even for myself, I think about this and my family and those around us, right? As Orunmila said, he's offered ebo after ebo. He's offered a tutu after a tutu. It just hasn't come time for that destiny, good destiny, to manifest itself. It's not going to be one Ebo that changes our life completely. Sometimes it will be, because we'll be right on that edge, but sometimes it's not, and we need to understand that. Right? I have to understand that. You have to understand that. It takes work to adjust ourselves, to adjust our destinies. Right? So I encourage us all to take time to analyze how we can apply these different things to our life. Think about what we're doing, right? Are we taking the proper steps to work towards our good destiny? I remember casting Ifa about my current work position. And Ifa said to me, be patient, wait. Keep moving forward, don't stop. Send in your application, do what you have to do. And then the blessings of Ifa manifested in such a wonderful way. Right? We have to keep our head on straight and have hope that, as Ifa says, our good destiny will manifest, that we will eventually see it. Right? But we must be faithful and continue our way. Ashe. So let us go to the Ogdu now of Ogbe-Irosun. Ogbe-Irosun. There's the need to experience suffering and tribulations before experiencing favor and benevolence. This was Ifa's declaration to Koko Irin, the Iron Knob Collection, when going on spiritual mission to Irawo land. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. Ashe. Here we have the story of Koko Irin. Koko Irin was means the collection of iron knobs. He wasn't an important person. He wasn't known by anybody. He was suffering, facing many challenges in his life. He couldn't feed himself very well. He just didn't have the money for it. He didn't have money for good clothes, but he continued to persevere. One day, Koko Irin went on a spiritual mission to Irawo land, and he decided to go visit Ifa, Babalawo, for Ifa consultation. When he was there at the home of the Babalawo, he had many questions, right? He was like, will I succeed in Irawo? Will my sufferings and tribulations end? Will I be recognized by those who are around me? Will I become someone who is important and be given reverence there? Now, the Awo told him that even though he had been suffering his entire life, only a little bit of time remained for all of his sufferings to end. But the Awo told him that he must face his suffering and challenges face to face before having the pleasure of living a good life. Right? He was told that he just had a little bit longer that he needed to push through before he would become an important person. He needed to persevere. The Awo advised Koko Irin to offer a bow, and at the same time, be ready to face a hardship with courage and perseverance. That, like, this is, the Awo says, you're going to meet a challenge that you've never experienced before, and your life is going to change because of it. Ashe. So Koko Irin offers his ebo. He offers his ebo. It was a few days later that he made his trip out to Irawo land. As soon as Koko Irin got to Irawo, he was recognized as fit and proper to be molded into an Orisha Oko staff. So they gathered all Koko Irins, the iron knobs, and placed them into the iron container. They placed it on fire. Red hot fire. Koko Irin screamed, but you all told me that I would become somebody important. What is the reason why you should set me on fire? The blacksmiths who were working on Coco Irene responded, "Patience, please. Your suffering is about to end. Just persevere." Little time had passed. Coco Irene was then molded into a hoe, garter tool. They placed the hoe on an anvil, and it was then used a big sledgehammer to pound him into shape. Just kept beating, chung, 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 pounding him into shape. The pain was unbearable for Coco Irene. He screamed in anger and agony, pain. He was counseled to exercise patience and perseverance. Hold strong. A few days after this, Coco Irene was again placed on the fire and melted again. He screamed and cried. He was told to persevere. He was molded into a long, long iron staff. He's placed on the anvil again and hammered into shape once more. When the blacksmiths were happy with the work that they had done and what they had molded Coco Irene into, they looked for an iron sponge and started to scrub Coco Irene. He screamed. He was advised to persevere. After they had completed that, they began to put ornaments and other decorations on Coco Irene. In the end, Coco Irene had become the staff of Oore-Segi. He was fed later with a she-goat for 16 days. He became the most valuable and most expensive Orisha in Irawo land. Everyone came to pay their respects to him, saying, "Greetings to Oore-Segi, the elder in the land of Irawo." From that day on, his suffering had ended, and he became the most important personality in Irawo land. This is a very, very important story. One, it talks about the work that goes into the consecration of the icon for Oore-Segi. Right? Think about that work that goes into it. It's got to be, the iron staff has to be molded by hand. Once it's molded by hand, then it needs to be consecrated over the process of 16 days. Many, many offerings. Right? So the verse ends like this: "There is the need to experience suffering and tribulations before experiencing favor and benevolence." This was Ifa's declaration to Coco Irene, the Iron Knob collection, when going on spiritual mission to Irawo land. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. "Greetings, Oore-Segi, the elder in Irawo land. You have now become someone that is collectively venerated." Ashe. This is a story of perseverance. Do not give up. How many of you have experienced when things have become so difficult that you simply just want to give up? I saw a quote, and I've been thinking about this quote often. I apply it to my life. But I saw a quote that says, "Your mind will give up 1,000 times before your body does." Think about that again. Your mind will give up 1,000 times before your body does. This is what I think about when I am working on exercise. That's my biggest challenge that I'm going through these days, maintaining exercise. And I'm not just doing exercise for me to get healthy now. My goal is to make exercise an integral part of my life until I'm no longer here. Right? We have to take care of ourselves. As I've shared before, right? Our health is the most important aspect of us. That's what gets us to long life, is taking care of our health. How can we apply this knowledge to different aspects of our life? All right. Do we, or can we, find the mental fortitude to push through our challenges to find our success? Can we keep our cool in the process? Right? I remember being in graduate school and saying to myself that I was there on scholarship, and I wanted to be the best musician I could be for those who were supporting me. And I was working at it hours a day, hours at night, push through pain, challenging, and saying, well, there's a reason I'm doing this. All right. Now at this point in life, the challenge that I'm facing is my studies of Ifa. It continues. We have to push through. We cannot give up. Right. I think about my career. I think about so many other things. If I remember this quote, our mind will give up 1,000 times before our body does. Right. I don't want to be that. I don't want to cave into my mind. I want to keep pushing. We cannot allow our minds to hold us back. We can't, right? We do the things we do so that our lives will get better. So that when we reach that stage in life where we can celebrate all the successes we have gained, we know that we have put in that hard work. We know that we have persevered. Now, I ask you this one question. How many times have you allowed your mind to take a break when you're pursuing something you want to achieve? It's an honest question. How many times? We need to be in control of our minds and ourselves when we're working towards our goals. If Ifa says it's in our destiny to succeed, I encourage you to keep pushing forward. We need to encourage each other, right? That is the goal. Let us encourage each other so that we keep pushing forward. Do not let our mind give up first. So let me bring this all together, right? Today's message is about patience. And I want us all to remember these things. One, our setbacks in life will always be temporary. Two, if we stay close to Ifa, we will have the support of Ifa and the Orisha. Number three, do not allow your lack of patience to cause misjudgment in your life. Number four, do not give up and keep on persevering. Right? Think about those things as you understand what patience means in your life. I'd like to thank you and let you know that, one, we have all come to this world to seek success and happiness. Let patience be a part of getting you there. So thank you all for joining me today, for supporting Okaranso de Temple, for being a part of what we do here in Miami. I encourage you all to, if you're listening, to please reach out. Let's have conversations. Let's join in as a community. Let's discuss Ifa more. I love talking about Ifa. Let us get together to do O'Shea. Let us get together to do anything that's happening Ifa related, right? So that we can grow our community here in Miami. Next week, Sunday is October 1st. So and my normal plans, I explained as we started technically our new season, that the first Sunday of the month I will be taking off and then continue giving temple services for the additional Sundays. So please remember that. I will be taking off next Sunday. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend and a blessed week. Again, Aburu Aboye Abushisheo Boato. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.